So what you've done now is you've done a lot of diverging in Diamond 1. You have diverged to find out information about your ecosystem, right, in week 2. And you spent the first half of week 1 diverging to learn more about various beneficiaries that you've chosen to focus on. Now it's time to converge, to slowly start closing the diamond of Diamond 1. And the reason we converge is because we want to kind of summarize and digest all the information you have. You've had a bit of an information overload maybe in the last 2 weeks. You want to kind of try to summarize it and give it a place and give it a structure so that you can look at all the data and say, okay, look, we've learned all this about our challenge. Now, how can we make sense of it? And once we've made sense of it, what are the key aspects that we could focus on within our challenge that we could bring into Diamond 2 when we start to ideate for solutions, right? Now, in order to create that structure and that focus, we're going to create an issue tree. And an issue tree is actually, in essence, a very simple tool, but in its delivery, it can be very complex. An issue tree has 3 layers, really. It has the core problem in the middle, so the challenge or the challenge of the beneficiary. And then on the top, it has the effects, the immediate effects, and it could also be the secondary effects. And on the bottom, it has the causes, the immediate and the secondary causes. Causes are things that make the problem occur, so that feed the problem. And effects are things that happen as a result of the problem existing, typically negative effects. Here's an example of quite a simple issue tree. So the challenge or the core problem is that teenagers don't finish school. Now, you can see that if we go first to the causes level, there's various reasons why teenagers don't finish school. For example, parents don't encourage them, school is not interesting, or there's a need to find employment to support the family. And you see that there's also some secondary causes. So for example, the reason that there's a need to support family is because there's a low family income. Or the reason that parents don't encourage them is because parents don't think school is important. And at the top, we see effects, right? So the effects of the fact that teenagers don't finish school are that they have more difficulty finding a job, which leads to less opportunities or lower future income for them. It also increases teenage pregnancy rates, and it increases the use of drugs and alcohol, which in turn leads to more crime and more accidents, etc., etc. You have these spillover effects. So this is an example of an issue tree. I want you to create a similar issue tree using the information that you've collected in your ecosystem map and using the information you've collected on your beneficiary. But I don't want you to create just one. I want you to create at least 3 different issue trees. So I want you to think of, within your challenge, you've identified a few beneficiaries. Maybe pick 2 or 3 of those beneficiaries that you want to create an issue tree for. Or maybe pick the whole challenge as a whole to create one big issue tree and then create 2 small ones about beneficiaries. But I want you to diversify these issue trees so that you look at it from different angles, that you look at your problem from different angles. So have a go at that. What you'll notice is, I'll just give you another example. So here's an example of another issue tree with higher number of bus accidents. So for example, some of the causes are buses are in poor condition, and they're in poor condition because of poor maintenance, and the buses are old. And the reason that there is no maintenance is because there's no maintenance routines, etc., etc. Right? So you see all these things. Careless bus drivers is one of the causes for a higher number of accidents. But the reason that bus drivers are careless is because they're stressed. Why are they stressed? Because of tight schedules and because of bad traffic situations. And why is it a tight schedule? Because there's too few drivers and buses. I want you to think about this because I want you to understand the relevance of the issue tree. If you look at some of these sub-causes, these secondary causes, that's potentially where your solution might lie. So what we often do is we think about the bigger problem, higher number of bus accidents, and we try to come up with a solution for that directly. But it's possible that if we zoom in again on this issue tree and we look at this issue of careless bus drivers and we see that they have stress, maybe we could just focus on that. Maybe we could just focus on stress alleviation. And that will have a trickle-on effect, right? It'll travel up the branches and as a result lead to less number of bus accidents. So instead of tackling the problem as a whole, by doing this issue tree, what we're actually trying to achieve is we're trying to dissect the problem into more small components. And those smaller components is what we will be looking at next week to identify an intervention area. So areas that you as a group want to focus on and find more information about and find solutions for. So that's what we're going to be doing next week. But for now, I think this is a good task for you for week 3. So you should get out there, look for your beneficiaries, find information about your beneficiaries, and then regroup and create these issue trees together as a group. Good luck with it, and I look forward to seeing you next week.